fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Decepticon Crasher from the Transformers Velocitron Speedia 500 collection from Hasbro. As you guys probably know by now, this line is exclusive to Walmart, but sometimes Hasbro Pulse has a small amount available on their website as well, and that's where I was able to pick this one up. Have not seen them in stores yet, but I know some people online have, so they're probably making their ways to Walmart pretty soon. So definitely check there if you're in the market for this one. Packaging pretty standard for this line. I really like the color scheme. I think it looks great. I think it's also kind of fun that because it's supposed to be a race, they all come packaged in vehicle mode. I think that's really fun. Some really nice artwork of Crasher here on the side in robot mode, and then up here we have the vehicle mode. Up here we have a product shot of the toy in vehicle mode as well. Not really much going on there on the bottom. Again, just kind of wrapping the picture around over on this side, and then a close-up of the robot mode on this side. And then on the back, of course, we have product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode as well. So, like I said, pretty standard packaging for the line, but I think it looks great. Let's go ahead, let's get Crasher out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. Here is Crasher out of the packaging. And as you can probably tell, this is just a repaint of Earthrise Mirage, but it is also a GoBots reference. Crasher was one of the evil renegades, and although she was a race car, she was not an Indy car. I'll put a little picture up here. This is the kind of car that she actually was, the original Machine Robo toy, as well as on the show, but they just love to repaint Mirage into Crasher. It's okay. I mean, it's a really nice repaint. I will say we got a lot of nice glossy black paint, which looks really sharp. A little bit of red as well, some silver here for a Decepticon symbol. 01 for the number painted on the car. Overall, it's a pretty solid little vehicle mode. I just wish one day Crasher would get to be the same kind of race car that she was back in the day, instead of always just being a Mirage repaint. Honestly, I would love for Hasbro to just do a line of GoBots again with those characters. I guess they're not super popular enough, but I just think that'd be really fun. But anyway, that's a wish for another day. So, rolls well. You know, it's a nice little Indy car here, not too much going on. She does come with the same two accessories that came with Mirage. You know, just kind of this typical blaster, and then you have what was Mirage's shoulder-mounted missile launcher. But the one problem with the Earthrise mold, the Siege mold, you could actually mount this on the shoulder. You can't really do that with this one, and we'll get into that more in robot mode, but these two are included, just molded out of simple black plastic, no paint or anything. Not that it needs it, really. Maybe make this red might have been nice, just for a little pop of color, but it's not really that big a deal. So you can put these on these two little holes here on the side if you wish. You can peg these right on here in vehicle mode. I kind of think it makes it look a little too busy, but it is an option. So I'm just going to put these off to the side for now. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the vehicle mode. I think it looks good. Even though it is just the wrong kind of race car for Crasher, but I get it. They're not going to make a brand new mold for her. One day, maybe. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get into transformation. So the transformation is exactly the same as Earthrise Mirage, but I have to admit, it's been a minute since I've transformed Mirage. I had to go back to the instructions for a bit of a refresher, but it's really not too bad. We're going to go ahead, we're going to lift up these sections here, which will become the hands. We are going to split them down the center, and then there's a little hinge here that we're going to hinge that up, and then rotate it off to the side. So repeat that over here. Just make sure you're not using the shoulder joint, you're actually using this hinge joint here. And then rotate that off to the side. This little panel right here is going to flip back, and that will give you clearance to rotate the head out, like so. And then you can go ahead and put that back up. I don't think I have this all the way up. There we go. And then that'll peg back in like so. And then you can just rotate the wheels into the chest, just like that. Let me zoom out a little bit. So now we're going to come down to the front of the car, which is going to become the legs. We're going to, I find it easier to just kind of lift this up instead of pulling them apart, but we're going to lift that up to separate the legs. These panels here will kind of situate off to the side, and it's a little difficult, there we go, just to kind of loosen those up. And I don't know why I find this like the hardest part, like this does not want to unpeg. Okay, once we have that, we'll flip it around. These sections here where the wheels are attached are going to rotate 180 degrees, like so. Just like that. This one can be a little tricky because the tab to connect them together, like to get clearance, like it clears, but barely. Then we're going to take this little section here. You want to make sure, because there's like this little beveled area, and you want to make sure that you fit inside there. But this is going to flip the foot down, and then you can just kind of bring this down like this and form up the whole leg. So we're going to come back to this side, do the same thing, bring this down. And it doesn't super peg together, but it will kind of like friction in place. I think there's a little connection up here that keeps that together. I don't think there's anything that actually pegs this part of the leg to this like wheel strut piece here, but it'll stay together. And then you can rotate at the thigh 90 degrees towards the front. And there you go. We have pretty much the entire bottom section of the body. So we will rotate up here, and we're pretty much almost done at this point. You can see that there's this kind of double hinge right here. This is going to fold down and click into place like that. And then we're going to bring these pieces down here, and that's going to tab in right there. So you'll hear that kind of click into place like that. And then we're going to just fold the hands out of the forearms is what I'm trying to say. And then this section here will rotate up like that. And then there you go. We are pretty much done with the robot mode. If you want, you can bring the weapons back in. Like I said previously, there's nowhere to peg this one in here, which was a problem with Mirage. I've seen people online 3D print little pieces that kind of like peg in here and then has like a panel that comes up and then a little peg hole here. And it's just like a little add-on piece, and then you would be able to peg that in there. It's actually pretty creative, and that's pretty awesome. I don't feel like it's as big of a deal for Crasher, because the, GoBot that it's referencing didn't have a shoulder cannon, so I don't really need it there. You can go ahead and just put either of them into the hands here like this. Or if it says if you... I think this looks really weird. But the directions say that you can store them here on the back of the arms if you want. You could do that. I guess if you wanted, you could swing one up like that. That's not terrible. Almost has kind of like a Megatron look. But I don't know. I feel like I would rather just have them in the hands or off to the side. I don't really need to store them anywhere. But you do have that option if you want it. So I think the robot mode looks pretty good. I mean, it's a nice color scheme. It is just black, red, and white, but those colors do work well together. I think the head is painted very nicely. You have some pink there for the face, yellow paint for the eyes, a little bit of red on the side. And I feel like the reason that they always use Mirage as the basis for a Crasher homage is because, one, it's a race car, but also they feel like the head is kind of a similar shape. I'll put a picture over here of what the robot mode looked like in the cartoon, at least. And she has that kind of like domed head from the way the race car transformed, and that's kind of similar to Mirage's head sculpt. So I feel like that's kind of why they do that. Again, it's just not really the same kind of race car, but I guess the head is kind of similar. It does look good. I mean, they painted the face pink to also kind of match the cartoon. The original toy, I think, was just like a silver face with a red visor for eyes, but they made the face look very different in the cartoon to make it a girl, and so they've kind of reflected that here, which I think they did a pretty nice job of. Articulation-wise, it's the same as Mirage. I mean, the head is on a very limited ball joint. You can look down a little bit. You can look up a little bit. You can spin the head side to side. It kind of tilts a little bit side to side, but not really. You do have a swivel here at the shoulder, as well as a hinge. You do have a bicep swivel there. You have 90 degrees in the elbow. Nothing really in the wrist because of the way it transforms. You do have a nice waist swivel. You can kick pretty far forward, pretty far back, pretty far out to the side. Nice range of motion in the hip there. You have that thigh swivel. I would say you have maybe slightly over 90 degrees there in the knee. And then we do have the ankle tilt. So that works really well. Yeah, she looks fine. I just feel like it's a lot of black, but I feel like the original toy and the appearance on the cartoon was as well. So I feel like they really did kind of nail the color scheme and the proportions of the colors and everything like that. So in that regard, I think it works well. And this is a pretty decent mold, honestly, for Mirage. There's really not too much kibble anywhere on the back. I mean, the worst you have here is just these wheel pieces sticking out. Otherwise, the robot mode is pretty clean. There's really not anything hanging off. These little shoulder pads don't even really bother me because I feel like they're fairly integrated into the arm and they're not really in the way of anything. They don't hinder any articulation or anything like that. Back when the mold was Mirage, it bothered me that I couldn't get the shoulder-mounted cannon, but again, Crasher didn't have that, so I don't really feel like it's that big of a deal anymore. But yeah, all in all, it's a pretty solid little repaint, and I do love a good GoBots reference, because I feel like we definitely don't get many of them anymore. So I think it's fun. I think it's nice. I think they did a pretty good job. I know a lot of people online were saying that the pink just really kind of stands out with the rest of the color scheme, and I can't necessarily disagree, but it is kind of an homage to that original cartoon appearance for Crasher, so I feel like it makes sense, and I think it looks pretty good. So all in all, I think this is a pretty good figure. I mean, it was a good figure back when it was Earthrise Mirage, and it's a fun little repaint here as Crasher. You know, gotta get those GoBot references in. Plus, again, it's the race line, and it's a race car, so it makes total sense. Let's go ahead and bring in one of the weapons here. I feel like they could have done something, though. The weapons are a little plain. I will complain about that a little bit. I mean, they look great. They have nice sculpted in detail and everything, but it's just more black on an already black-heavy color scheme. You know, maybe just mold them out of a different color plastic or something. I don't necessarily need them to be painted, but maybe they could have molded them out of white or out of red or something just to break it up a little bit, because she does have a lot of black in the color scheme. Again, that is reminiscent of the original toy and the cartoon appearance, so I get it, but I feel like the guns get lost because it's just more black with black, and I feel like they just need it to be a different color to kind of break it up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe they're fine. But in any case, I think it's a fun figure. I definitely recommend adding it to the collection. I got mine from Hasbro Pulse, as I stated earlier, but you could probably find them in your local Walmart fairly soon. So if you do love a good GoBot reference like me, I definitely recommend adding this one to the collection. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.